Take two. Y'all know who I am. I am back with another episode. I'm back with another y'all know what it is, another podcast episode. But before I get started, I am David, aka Preacherman. Some of y'all know me, some of you don't. Some of y'all are about to get to know me, and some of you need to go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right there, right here and below on the YouTube page. And go ahead while you watching, pull your phone out. I know you got your phone. Go ahead, follow me on Instagram at FrazierChronicles. Let's get this party started. So today, I'm about to talk about Coach Flores, former coach of the Miami Dolphins. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He's put the lawsuit out. And everybody has an opinion. And I want to go ahead and put my opinion out on the table right now. Since everybody's put their opinions on the table, I am about to put my opinion on it right now. So first things first is, everyone knows that the NFL has an issue with black coaches. And black men and minorities. Let's put that out there. There's an issue. It is in the coaching room. It's not on the field. Remember that. It's in the coaching room, but it's not on the field. Why do you think that is? Well, I always asked myself these questions many years ago, and as I was going through life, as I still am. And I've asked myself numerous times, why is it that black people, black coaches, minorities having a hard time getting into these head coaching jobs? And the time comes where people might say, well, what about qualifications? Well, that's a little part of the deal, but that's not the big story. The big story has to do with there are people who are at the top in the ownership of this big organization called the NFL, National Football League, who have the mentality that black men and minorities are incapable of leading what? That NFL franchise. That's the truth behind it. If you read the history of the NFL has lacked diversity in a lot of places, but no one has talked about it. And if you also look, most quarterbacks, the NFL did not want black quarterbacks. They wanted white quarterbacks. They wanted white linebackers in the middle who led any part of the defense and any quarterback who leads the offense, because there's a belief that black people are incompetent. They cannot lead on any type of level. And that's a lie. That is a lie. So when Coach Flores is putting all these things out, there is some things that really need to be addressed, and I think that he's addressing a small issue, but there's a bigger issue that has not yet been talked about. But again, that's the NFL. That's the organization who everybody supports. And I have the theory that, and I'm gonna say this because again, I don't have any parts to the NFL, and if I ever had an opportunity to go unless this changed, I probably wouldn't go. But anyway, listen to me. It's like the plantation. And I know you're probably saying, oh God, he's getting into the plantation. Oh God, let me get off this YouTube. No, stay in your butts right here because I'm about to explain it to you. It's like the plantation. When you looked at slavery, and I know you're probably saying, well, what are you talking about, God? These guys are making millions of dollars and all of these contracts and da-da-da. And first off, tax is killing half of that money. First off, agents are killing the money too because they have to get their amount of money, which is no biggie to that. And then the players are left with whatever's left. All right, the scraps. Okay, and I want to talk about plantation real quick. I want to talk about slavery. So as we all know that slavery, most black people were enslaved, and most whites were their slave masters. And it's the same concept in the NFL. It has that slave mentality where it's like you had the house black guy, and you had the field guy, right? And we know there's words that they use, but I'm going to not use those words because I don't like those words, and the words that they came up with, Caucasians and Europeans or whoever came up with the words, it just doesn't make sense, okay? Because they came up with those words and then they gave it a definition. But anyway, stay with me. So anyway, there's this plantation that's going on, and we know that they worked those slaves. They worked them. Man, they worked them. No, and they didn't give him money, but the NFL didn't give him money. But it's still the same concept because of this. These owners are not young owners. These owners grew up, some of them, and most of them, they're older. They're old. Most of them are old. Might have some young ones in there, but they all grew up in that century where it was like you treat the black man like he's nothing. You treat the black woman like she's nothing. And that has come, right? You have the Willie Lynch letters, who a lot of people don't even talk about, which is how to base the making of a slave and how to basically have slaves make money for you. And I understand that you are working and you are under contract, but I think that they need to fix a lot of things when it comes to that league. They need to fix it. They need to get rid of a lot of the hypocritical stuff that they have in there. And when you talk about black coaches and white coaches, we see it. White coaches get the job, and who works for them? Who works for the white coaches? The black players. The black players do. And there's nothing wrong with white coaches. But what I'm saying is, when you look at the NFL, who's filling up the seats? Who's filling in the stadiums? Black players. Yes, there are white players in the league, and I am acknowledging that. So don't try to get on here and say, well, you're not acknowledging white players because Tom Brady fills the stands and this person fills, and I get that. I got that. But most people come to watch you, the black players, play. And football all around, just like if we want to talk about football, because there's other sports out there, and I will do videos on other sports. But right now, I'm focused on Coach Brian Flores, and I'm going to focus on everything else. But the biggest thing is when we look at football, we have to look and understand there are investors. And I think that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. There are people who sit back with trillions of dollars, and they basically make decisions too. And if you're not into stocks, I would tell you guys to get into stocks because I'm into stocks. But you learn more about investing and investors in the hands that investors kind of have inside of the corporations. And I think that's where a lot of stuff is heading. It's the hands that are in the corporations that kind of give off the vibe like, we don't want that, but we want this. The NFL needs to fix his act. The Rooney Rule is a baloney rule. The Rooney Rule, I said, is a baloney rule because basically why do you have to come up with a doggone name to get people in an organization where equality is supposed to happen, in an organization where people are supposed to be treated with dignity and respect, in an organization where people are supposed to be held to the highest standard because the world's watching them, little kids look up to you guys, and you got to create a rule basically so black people and minorities can get a doggone interview. That lets me know that these organizations are not geared toward blacks being in a leadership position. Now, blacks, we are always given the coordinator positions. We definitely could be your defensive coordinator. And if you have an offensive coordinator slot and you want a black person as offensive coordinator, or you want us as a special team coach, or whatever else, or quality control, or whatever else you have that might be behind the scenes, not in front of cameras, you definitely put us in there. And this is to the NFL. You definitely put us in there. And people might say, well, you never played in the NFL. Well, that has nothing to do with it because the same people who play in the NFL won't say nothing about the NFL because what? The money. The money. The money. That's why most guys can be, because of what? The money. My point is acting. If you tell most of those guys to walk away from the league, they're not going to do it. One, because they want the celebrity lifestyle. Two, they want the big time money. Three, they can't live without football. They can't live without football. Those three things right there, 1, 2, and 3, are the reason people won't leave. But I'm gonna tell you like this: there are people, and I know, and I'm a big time person on racism. I hate racism. I hate people who, and I'm not saying I hate people. What I'm saying is I hate how people think that, oh, because I'm this color and you're that color, we can't connect. Well, I'm a podcaster. I've been on white people podcasts, black people podcasts, and other podcasts. I've never had an issue with none of them. Why? Because it's all about the vibe and it's about networking. And it's a business, right? But a lot of you out here don't look at it that way. You look at it, well, because I gotta see the same person in the room, and that's the only way I can live my life. And I want you to understand, I want you out there who are GMs and who are part of all these organizations, and you're saying, well, we're getting qualified candidates. Well, if my memory serves me, there's a couple coaches who are in the NFL right now who came straight from the college coaching, had no NFL experience. But you have guys in the NFL who did what? They have interviewed, they have the experience, but yet you keep sitting them back behind a rock. And you're telling them, no problem. Just go out there and do it. I have an issue with that. I do have an issue with that. I think that every black man that's playing the game of football as an athlete, as a coach, in any capacity, should be able to say, you know what, till you guys get it right, we're gonna walk away from the game. And I know that might seem like the hardest thing to do because everybody's like, well, what about loyalty to your team? It's about loyalty to all of us. It's about us. It's about us. If we don't change it, who changes it? If we don't fight it, who fights it? Right? We can't be cowards. We're men. That's what we're taught. We're men. And when we look at it, you're taking men and you're saying, no, bow down to me. Be what I want you to be. Don't you go and do what everybody else is doing. Because I can take your check away. I can take your lifestyle away. Because that's all it's about. It's about a lifestyle. People love the game so much. But when it's put into a business perspective, it's like the love for the game doesn't mean nothing. It's about doing what I want you to do so you can fill up my stadiums so that you can do these things. And guess what? Who gets all the glory? Who gets all the praise? It's the GMs and the head coach. That is it. GMs and head coaches. That's it. Why is that? Because it's been like that. You have people who play in the NFL. You have Hall of Famers who don't even think that, and they might never said it, but they thought it that, oh, black people and white people should be on the same field together. I'm telling you, football has had a history of where blacks couldn't even dress out in the same locker room as their white counterparts. They were put into a separate area. They don't talk about that, and they won't talk about it because it's going to bring a blind eye. Because now the NCAA was a part of that stuff. They didn't implement rules at one point. They implemented that segregation crap. Right? It's some things happening in college world shaking up to see that black players and white players need to be together because there's something everybody needs from each other, right, to win the game. But it's not until we stop trying to make one color a person more dominant than this person and that person of color and that person who's black and this person who's white. We need to stop that stuff. Come together and unite. The United States, why would the United States have the name if we're not going to be united? Why call yourself the United States and you're not going to be united? That's a contradiction, right? So when we look at things and put things in perspective, the NFL needs to change. The NFL, National Football Players Association, needs to step up to the plate and get this stuff changed. Whoever, the people who are, or the organizations that's about to investigate all of this stuff, get this stuff done. And my thing, by God, there are going to be things that, and I'm going to tell you right now, there are going to be things that they don't find. There are going to be things they don't find because now everybody has time to kind of stir up the pot to hide stuff. You know, that just like Coach Gruden, everybody's all ashamed about, he called somebody, he used the N-word. And you look at this organization, he's not the only one using the N-word in emails. Okay, when they're drafting these black guys, and then white guys are getting drafted, but when they're drafting these black guys and they're looking at these black guys, they're sitting around the table and saying, "This N, that's a big N. That's a big N," because that's the terminology that they use. Because their terminology is that's their terminology. They don't want to change their terminology. Now, in front of cameras and in front of the newspaper, in front of journalists, they'll do it, you know, because it's, you know, it's the right thing to do. But reality is, it's a circus. You're circus animals to them, and it sucks that I'm saying that, because that's the reality. No one, you know, that's why you get, you know, you go to a team, people are told this behind closed doors, nothing new, that you can't follow, you can't live up to the expectations of this team, or what do we want, what we need, then you can't be here, right? And there's so much that goes on in the coaching world, because it's all political, if you ask me. It's a bunch of politics, it's a bunch of who knows who, it's a bunch of, that's my boy, you know, it's a bunch of, well, he took the position over here, so I'm just gonna hire this man, and then if he end up coming back, then I'll fire this guy so he can come in. It's a lot of that stuff. And I want the NFL to really change that stuff. I'm speaking out because I'm a fan, man. You know, when I looked at the game growing up, I didn't know a lot of the stuff that I started, you know, that I know now, because I started researching a lot of things. And I started finding out that, man, damn, they didn't give a damn about people. They didn't care that this player's hurt. They didn't care about this player, his life, that he needed time away from the game because of family issues or just off of mental health issues or what have you. To give these people an opportunity to say, you know what, I need to just get my life together. You know, any organization, and it's always these billion-dollar organizations, trillion-dollar organizations that, and I'm not saying that that's the only people that do it, because there's organizations that are not even in the Fortune 500 that do it, but they burn out. It's called burnout. They burn you out, right? They burn you out until they can't burn you out. You know, to offer, you know, bribery is a big thing. Bribery is a big thing. Bribery is one of the biggest things in America, but it's one of the biggest downfalls of all of mankind, that you can bribe a man or bribe a woman to do something that goes against the morals and the values of an organization, that goes against the morals and values of who else? That particular individual, that goes against the values and the morals of the team, right? What about team? Are we not team no more? Is the NFL all about scripts? Is it all about trying to be like WWE, WWF, World Wrestling Entertainment, or World Wrestling and World Wrestling Entertainment? Is that what they want to be now? Script writing, right? Script writing. Just be a script writer. We go out here, we make it happen. Whatever we want is what we want. Right, I think there's a point in time where really a lot of people, and this is just my thought, is that if I'm a GM, man, I'm playing my part. I'm just a GM, right? If you the coach, I'm playing my part. I'm just the coach. If I'm a player, I'm playing my part. I'm just the coach, or the player. I'm sorry, right? And everybody, the way the hierarchy is set up, let the hierarchy do what it's supposed to do. You know, I'm not going to be the player trying to control a GM. I'm not going to be the player trying to control my coach. Whether my coach makes more money than me or I make more money than my coach, I'm not here to control that individual. I'm here to take your advice. I'm here to listen to you, whether you're right or whether you're wrong, right? And I'm just going to go ahead and do what you asked me to do. That way, one, it keeps the problems down. Two, because of loyalty and respect to who you are in your position, I'm going to respect you. Now, when it comes to a person trying to be racist that prejudice and racism, we got an issue now. We need to address this issue that's in the room. And I think that it takes a strong person to address issues. It's more so than try to sit behind an issue. You know, and I'm going to say that because I was in an organization that there was prejudice going on. And I addressed that elephant in the room. And everybody told me, well, that's your opinion. Well, how is something my opinion when that directive is in the papers? When what's going on, Congress knows about it. What's going on, the government knows about it, right? So how am I being opinionated? Am I being opinionated when I'm telling you some facts? And I think that when we look at this whole thing, whether Coach Brian Flores is doing it because of his true intentions, I want to just change the game, or if he's doing it because, hey, I'm about to lose my family. Whatever the reason is, I think that he's taking a bold step. Will it cost him? Everything comes with a price. So that's a no-brainer. I don't know what it's going to cost him, but everything comes with a price. You know what I'm saying? People are saying, well, he might not coach in the NFL. Well, if he doesn't coach in the NFL, okay. It's not the end of the world. I just think that in the reality is that players need to start keeping owners accountable, because our owner is going to keep you as a player accountable. And I don't care what you say. And I think that everybody needs to be holding each other accountable so that we can change the narrative, so the narrative can change. Right? It can't change with just one person trying to keep everybody accountable, because that person gets burnt out, and guess what happens? It goes back to where it came from. I think the NFL needs to do a better thing of just creating diversity. You know, and my biggest thing is just make sure that everybody gets a fair opportunity. I feel like there needs to be somebody who is there that kind of just I think everybody just need to be neutral more so when candidates. You know, like, okay, I might like this person more just because I know you, but sometimes I can't, and I'm going to say all the time, and all the time I need to be neutral. Because if I'm all about winning, I'm trying to really grow my program. I love my friends, but if my friends can't do it, I don't need you. I love the excitement of being able to work with people I know and giving them opportunity to work. But if you're not going to give the team what's needed, because friendship that's not, friendship and business it's like they don't need to be in the same ballpark, because now it's like you might have a friend who can't win, but because that's your friend, now it's hard for you to let them go. You know, but anybody else you would have let go. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when it comes down to Coach Brian Flores, man, I hope this lawsuit, I hope that it changes things more so than anything. I hope it really puts a change in things. I really hope that black people, white people can unite, and we can change the game, man. When racist people are at the game, but the moment a black person scores a touchdown, and that's black people who are racist. When a white person scores a touchdown, woo! So it shows you don't have to be racist. And the NFL does not have to sit there and basically tarnish its reputation as owners or as players or as coaches. I think that we all can just come together and really just talk about it. Because my thing about it is one thing that's for sure is, man, everybody does not like to be looked at in a bad way. Everybody does not want to be put down in a bad way. Whether you've done it, whether you did what's you're being accused of, or whether you're not. Nobody wants to be put into a limelight where they're looked at as, man, my reputation is on the line right now. I think that he's going against a big grain. I don't think he's just, when you sue the NFL, I think that investors have a lot to influence behind it. Whether they want to stay in, whether they want to pull out, they're going to hold what they got until decisions are made. Is there going to be a payout? Whatever, man. I just think that really, honestly, man, I think that I can't change people. People got to want to change. And I'm a big Bible believer. I'm a Christian, and I think the only thing that can change people is the Word of God. I think that in my reality, that's what really changes people. To love people, to not hate people, because the Bible always talks about not to hate, but to love others. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. You know what I'm saying? And all of these different things. So, with that being said, man, I really hope the NFL, there's some change that comes about. I really hope that a lot of people really step up in places that need to be stepped up. I really hope that people really would not judge people based off of a lawsuit, but based off their work ethic. If you can do the job, if you qualify, then why not bring you in? Why not give you an opportunity and a shot? Because that's all that's what interviews are, is an opportunity for you to see who I am, an opportunity for me to basically create in your mindset what it's going to be like if I'm a part of your organization. If it's going to be a good thing, if it's going to be a bad thing. And I think that at the end of the day, black coaches are put in the hot seats more than white coaches because of the color of their skin. Because everybody wants to see failure. That's what people want to see when they see a black person. Oh, that's failure. When they see a white person, oh, that's opportunity. Oh, they got it. Oh, year one they didn't win. Oh, that's okay. Oh, we're behind them 100%. But the black coach don't win. Oh man, I knew it. That's the talk, that's the lingo of the league, that's the lingo of a lot of people. And I think that it just needs to stop. I think that the NFL really needs to get a grip on it. I think that the NFL needs to really straighten its act, get itself together, give an opportunity to those who want opportunities, and do it in a way where everybody is given an opportunity, fair shot. You know, what is the criteria we're looking for? Are we just looking for friends, somebody I know? Are we looking for the criteria is you got to be white? Is that the criteria? Like, let people know the criteria. We're looking for competent coaches. You know, if I was an owner, I'm looking for a competent coach who can come in here and who can change the thing around. You know, who can win football games, who can make these men, better fathers, better athletes, whatever the case may be. And that's how we run it. That's how I would run it. I mean, to me, that's more moral than me saying I want somebody in the hot seat or in the seat or in the coaching position because they're black. You know, I'm not that type of individual. I want people who are qualified. I want people who have the experience. If that's what we got to choose, that's what I want. And I might pull some people who may not have had experience, but because I'm all about opportunity and the direction. Do I want to be young? Do I want to get younger coaches? Do I want to get older coaches? Do I want someone who doesn't have any NFL experience but is looking for an opportunity? What am I looking for? And I think that everybody should be given the criteria of what is being looked for. And I don't think that a black person should get one and a white person gets, and they say the different things. Everybody gets the same thing. Everybody knows what we're looking for. Everybody knows the qualifications. So if you don't meet certain qualifications, then yeah, you might not make it. You're given an opportunity, but you might not make it. And you might make it. So again, it's just, come on, y'all, come on. Just stir this thing up the right way and just get us back to being fans so we can be fans of the game and not be like, man, I don't know if I'm going to watch the game. I don't know if I want to be a part. You might be, and some people might say, well, it does not matter, man. The NFL got a bunch of viewers. But the moment their viewerships fall, the moment their money falls, the moment stadiums are not filled, who's impacted? Is it us? No, not as fans. Those players, those GMs, those owners, they're impacted the most. Those investors impacted the most. So again, I just thought I'd just come out here and just talk about Coach Brian Flores. I really hope, and I'm a podcaster, I really hope that things do get better. I really do. I really do. I hope it gets better. And I hope that everybody really just start getting along. And everybody really makes sure that they're taking care of each other. Because at the end of the day, 10 years from now, something could tragically happen in your life where that individual has to help you, or their kids have to help you, or their family members have to help you. And a lot of times people remember how you treated them. And they tell their family members and their family members they're different. Just because today you might be walking and you got the nice gigantic house does not mean tomorrow will, if tomorrow comes, it'll be the same. Because life changes. As we know it, our age change, our hair colors change. Our things that we like in life change. Just how many kids you have changes over a couple of years. For some people, who you're married to changes. Your anniversaries change. So I'm just saying, man, NFL, I really hope y'all get it together. I hope that Coach Brian Flores accomplishes what it is him and his lawyer are trying to accomplish with the NFL. I think that that's the ultimate goal. I think that if any person who is in a position to make changes, make the change. And anybody who's done wrong, right your wrongs and make them right. That's it. Right your wrongs and make them right. That's all you can do. All right, that's all you can do. It's not the end of the world. All right. Other than that, man, I'm David, aka Preacherman. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure before you leave, subscribe. Hit that subscription button I'm looking at right now. Hit it. And I'm watching your mouse. Yes, there you go. Thank you for the hits. And then also, make sure y'all check me out on all podcasting platforms. Check me out on iHeartRadio, Spotify. You name the podcasting platform, I'm on it. Amazon Podcast and YouTube as well. And make sure y'all check my website out, www.FrazierChronicles.com. Check me out on Instagram and Facebook. Until the next time, I'm out. Peace.